Okay, welcome back in. I'm going to be reviewing Tuesday's action from the National Hockey League season. There were a total of 7 games on tap, so let's dive in. Starting with the Battle of Ontario as the Toronto Maple Leafs played host to the Ottawa Senators. Josh Norris would kick things off just 41 seconds into the opening period, getting his 6th goal of the year, assisted by Giroux and Zub. Tim Stützle would increase the lead to 2-0 in the second period, getting his 7th goal of the year, assisted by Batherson and Chabot, 3 minutes and 12 seconds of the middle frame. Michael Amadio would score just over 30 seconds after that, increasing the lead to 3-0, getting his 2nd goal of the season, assisted by Zub. So the Sens would go into Toronto and get a huge win, a shutout, 3-0. The New York Rangers played host to the Winnipeg Jets. Mark Scheifele would kick things off just 57 seconds into the opening period, getting his 8th goal of the year, assisted by Morrissey.
He's out there for the first shift. Excellent shift. The Rangers were just an inch away from taking the lead as Kreider hit the post. Now is a chance that Scheifele scores.
Will Cooley would tie the game up, getting his 5th of the season, assisted by Schneider and Sheedle, I believe, 13:07 of the first period.
I think bigger than his dad. His dad could really skate. His dad was a better skater, but Adam Lowry. Oh, Rangers score!
Gabriel Velarde would break the tie, getting his 7th goal of the season, a power play goal from Ehlers and Pionk, 8:58 of the second period.
It was checked by Fox. Fox and Miller on with Trocheck and Smith. There's a chance in front, and they score!
That was a beautiful give and go. Just when like Velarde was going to take a shot, he would pass it, get it back, and get the power play goal, putting the Jets up 2-1. Alexis Lafreniere would tie the game up, getting a power play goal of his own, his 6th of the season from Fox and Panarin, 12:51 of the middle frame.
Panarin to Fox. Outside. Lafreniere shoots. He scores!
Kyle Connor would break tie late in the second, getting his 10th of the season, 16:03 of the second, assisted by Pionk.
Zibanejad goes in, lost control. Pionk puts it out. Lead for Kyle Connor. Goes in with speed. He shoots. He scores!
He's having a terrific start to the season, and it's kind of ironic that I have both Connor and Pionk on my fantasy league. Thanks to both of them, I'm doing okay so far. So Mark Scheifele get his 2nd goal of the game, his 9th of the year from DeMello and Kyle Connor, a minute and 8 seconds into the third period, putting the Jets up 4-2.
Around for Lafreniere. Trying to work to the head, stopped by DeMello. Here comes Kyle Connor. Good pass to DeMello. In front, they score!
Capo Caco would cut the deficit to 4-3, getting his 2nd of the year, assisted by Cooley and Schneider, just a minute and 40 seconds into the third period.
Schneider with a shot. Save. How about? They're even put in. Cooley goal. Where they get it in, they go after it. Then the shot will eventually come from the point from Schneider. Look at Schneider. Stops it. Just gets it going.
Vladislav Nemesteko would increase the lead to 5-3, getting his 5th of the season, assisted by Ehlers, 13:08 of the third period.
Flicked it away by Halbach, and out comes Nemestikov. Miller is back. Nemestikov pass through, shot wide. By Ehlers, they put in.
The Rangers would pull their goalie, but unfortunately it did not pan out, as Kyle Connor would get his 2nd goal of the game, I believe, his 11th of the season, an empty netter from Sandberg and Pionk. Or maybe it was a hat-trick goal.
seconds to go. Fired toward the empty net and in.
So the Jets would win this by a final score of 6-3. They're off to an amazing start. I know it might be a little early, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were pegged as Stanley Cup favorites so far. The next game takes place in Florida as the Panthers played host to the New Jersey Devils. Jack Hughes would kick things off in the first, getting his 8th of the year from Bratt and Dougie Hamilton, 8.5 minutes into the opening frame.
Across the line to reach for Bratt. Pivots away from Kulikov. Holds in at the high point. Hughes scores! Jack Hughes!
Very nice goal. Sam Reinhart would tie the game up in the second, getting his 12th of the year, a power play goal, assisted by Balinskis, I believe, and Barkov.
Balinskis toes the line. Wrist shot. Carroll's wide. Controlled in the corner by Kachuk. They work it back up top. Balinskis, another shot.
Timo Meier would break the tie, getting his 7th of the year from Mercer and Singlether, 17:29 of the second period. Very nice wrist shot. Paul Cotter would increase the lead to 3-1, getting his 7th of the season from Heischer and Dougie Hamilton, 15:07 of the third period.
The final 5 minutes are brought to you by Expedia. Nico Heischer across the line. Wrist shot.
The Panthers would pull their goalie down by 2. Unfortunately, it did not pan out. Andre Palat will get his 3rd goal of the year, an empty netter, assisted by Bratt. And that goal happened with 1 minute and 2 seconds to go in the game.
Biggest danger has been dodged here for the Devils. Trying to take away. Empty net goal as he sets up Palat.
The Devils would go into Florida, winning this by a final score of 4-1. The St. Louis Blues played host to the Boston Bruins. There was no scoring in the first. The captain, Braden Shen, would open up the scoring in the second, getting his 2nd goal of the season, a power play goal from Kyrou and Bushnevich, 9:24 of the middle frame.
Bushnevich, goal line. Back to Bushnevich. And he waits. Looking for Kyrou in the slot. Gets it there. Rebound. They score!
Oscar Sundqvist would get his 2nd goal of the season, a power play goal from Holloway and Saad, 12-12 of the second frame, putting the Blues up 2-0.
The Blues win it back towards Brunovich. Inside to Texier. Goal line. In front side. Back to Art. Set play. Empty netter. Another power play goal. The Blues do a great job here. On the face-off. Scott Brunovich walks the line. They're moving the puck. This was a set play right there. And then they get it.
Morgan Geekie would cut the deficit to 2-1, getting his 1st goal of the season, assisted by Pasternak, 4:53 of the third frame.
At the center, Ringo checked up Hawkcock. Always dangerous. He comes in front of Geekie. Shift and he scores. And Geekie has cut the lead.
Charlie McAvoy would tie the game up at 2, getting his 3rd goal of the year from Marchand and Brazeau, 9:15 of the third period.
Kenai River, which is a couple of hours south of Anchorage, he got cut by the Ron Bear at 8:16. Here's the drive by McAvoy, and he scores.
David Pasternak would score with just 1 minute and 47 seconds to go, getting his 7th goal of the season from McAvoy and Zaka. It would end up being the game-winning goal.
And then Hawkcock banged on it, comes in front, they bang away, still loose. And then McAvoy, and a one-timer by Pasternak, and he got in.
One-timer by David Pasternak. He's done that a time or two in his life. So the Bruins, despite being down 2-0, would go on to win 3-2. The Edmonton Oilers played host to the New York Islanders. There was no scoring in the first period. Leon Draisaitl would get his 11th goal in the second period, a power play marker from McDavid and Evan Bouchard just 36 seconds into the middle frame. Just like Ovechkin, you know where he's going to be on the power play. You already know if you're on the penalty kill where Draisaitl is going to be. He's always on the left side of the net looking for that one-timer goal. And big surprise, he would strike. Kyle Palmieri would tie the game up in the second, 15:58 of that frame, getting his 7th goal of the season, assisted by Siplikov and Brock Nelson. Evan Bouchard would break the tie just 57 seconds into the third, getting his 4th of the season from Ekholm and Connor McDavid. McDavid would strike, getting his 5th goal of the season from Nugent Hopkins, 10:19 of the third period. So at that point, the Edmonton Oilers had a 3-1 lead. This thing's been a little slow, I apologize. Andre would cut the lead to 3-2, getting his 5th goal of the year from Pollock and Peugeot, 12:54 of the third period. Oh no. Have some technical difficulties here. Hold on a second. So I'm going to exit that so I can reconnect. Come on. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so load the app up one more time. This is the second time this has happened to me. I really hope this is going to be a consistent thing. So let's see if I can go back to Tuesday. And we'll go back to the Edmonton Oilers and the New York Islanders. Where are we? And, oh, wrong game. So, okay, we showed that one, showed that one, showed that one, showed that one, just showed that one. Anders Lee would tie the game up with 2 minutes and 40 seconds to go, getting his 2nd goal of the game, his 6th of the year from Peugeot and Palmieri. Let's try this out and see if this works. So Islanders were down 3-1. They would tie the game up at 3. We would need overtime. And big surprise, Leon Draisaitl will get his 2nd goal of the game, his 12th of the year from McDavid and Evan Bouchard. So despite the fact the Oilers blew a 3-1 lead, they would win this in overtime 4-3. Now, the only thing that I'm sure most Oiler fans were disappointed about was that McDavid got to 999 points. Obviously, he's 1 goal or 1 assist away from 1,000, but I'm sure he'll hit that in the next game. But ultimately, I'm sure they'll take a win over worrying about an individual stat. Okay, we're off to Vancouver as the Canucks played host to the Calgary Flames. With exactly a minute remaining in the first, Justin Kirkland would kick things off for the Flames, getting his 2nd goal of the season. So the Flames had a 1-0 lead heading into the 2nd period. But the lead didn't last long. Elias Pettersson would get his 4th of the year, a power play goal from Miller and Quinn Hughes, just 23 seconds in the middle frame. So we're tied up at 1. Less than, well, just over 2 minutes after that, Pie Sutter would give the Canucks a 2-1 lead, getting a 6th of the season from Miller and Brandstrom. Speaking of Eric Branson, we get his first goal of the season from Pettersson and DeBrus, 6:19 of the third period.
Here's Pedersen feeding back. Jake DeBrus leads for Elias Pedersen. Brandstrom long shot.
So the Flames had a 1-0 lead, gave up 3 straight goals. The Canucks would win this by a final score of 3-1. And the last game from Tuesday took place in Seattle as the Kraken played host to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Sean Kuraly would kick things off in the first, getting his 2nd of the season from Aston Reese and Kevin Labanc, 13:46 of the opening period.
Getting there first was Will Morgan to help out Mahura. Everly turns it over. Now Aston Reese. They score! Sean Kuraly may have got to it.
Speaking of Zach Aston Reese, he'd get on the goal scorer sheet, getting his 3rd of the year from Kuraly on the bank. 14:08 of the first period, putting the Blue Jackets up 2-0.
And Columbus has earned a 1-0 lead here at the outset. It's dumped in. Kuraly gets after it. Sinks a pass. They score!
Ty Cartle would cut the deficit to 2-1, getting his 2nd goal of the season from Burakovsky and Yanni Gord, 2:50 of the 2nd period.
On Butia. Now Gord in the slot. Burakovsky. Danforth. A chance. They score!
Ty Cartier, I apologize. Brandon Tanev would tie the game up at 2, getting his 4th of the season, 7:13 of the middle frame, unassisted.
Tanev has open ice. Here comes Turbo with Gord going to the front. Turbo scores!
They always say the worst thing in hockey, well, I'm sure there's several things, is having a 2-goal lead because it can easily disappear. Eli Tolvanen would break the tie, getting his 5th of the season, power play goal from Eberle and Jake McCann, 7:23 of the 2nd period.
Columbus number 12 on the kill. Seattle is 1 for 14 in the last 5 with their power play. McCann, Eberle in front. They score!
Will Borgen would get his first goal of the season from Bjorkstrad and Schwartz, 13:34 of the 2nd period, putting the Seattle Kraken up 4-2.
Cut off by Borgen. We see it up close. To the wall, Schwartz. He springs Bjorkstrand, who has Borgen right down Lenny Wilkins' way. He scores!
The Columbus Blue Jackets would pull their goalie in the 3rd. Unfortunately, it did not pan out. They were down by 2. Jared McCann would strike in the empty net, getting his 8th of the year, assisted by Eberle. And that goal happened with 1 minute and 18 seconds to go in the game.
The Kraken looking for their 7th win of the season. Their 4th on home ice. McCann, yawning cage, bullseye!
So despite the fact that Seattle was down 2-0, they would manage to get 5 straight goals and win this by a final score of 5-2. So because I had to exit the app and redo it, you obviously saw that I did this video the day after all the games happened. So there's no point in me going over the standings. I will have a video uploaded for Wednesday night, and I'll have all the up-to-date stats for all the teams. Okay, as always, if you're new to this channel and you like this type of content, feel free to hit the sub button. I'd be very grateful and very appreciative. Until next time, and as always, take care.